one of the traits of being a discoverer, being a wanderer, a conceptual thinker, an artist, a dreamer. One of the things is that I tend to come upon some magical discoveries and really awesome stories and narratives and trains of thought that are fascinating and potentially really, really important and valuable if actually followed and not immediately dismissed as just whimsical entertainment. Nothing more than just pure imagination and all unrealistic falsehood, which is one of the downers that we tend to feel as creative individuals when we imagine grand ideas because they've come from a place of inspiration. And it's quite immature and it's not thought out, it's not considered, the options having been weighed, the probabilities and the risks and the implications haven't been considered. But that's the point, is that hardly any creative thought comes from the ego and the mind. The real creative genius with artists is coming from a place that's unknown to us still. It's different for everyone. But in general, one of the things that I've been mentioning is it feels like I'm opening a portal to, I've referred to it as an information highway before. That's one way to metaphorically try to identify with this. It's like you just are able to attune yourself and join this much bigger, more intense current in the air, in the sea. You have these currents, and that's what comes to mind when I think of the information highway. It's you attune yourself in a high frequency, and through intention and through focus, you're able to attune yourself into this state where you are receiving a lot more information and you're more capable to come up with really creative ideas through observation, through experience, through interaction with the rest of the world, your inner and outer experience. But you are able to attune to a higher frequency and a higher source of wisdom, somehow, creativity. And when you do this, I've yet to put more terminologies to this process, but I'll cover that another time. This is where all of these ideas are coming from, and this is what's spurring me on to document them and get them out there. And this coincides with obviously my vlogs diary before I made a podcast where I'm still uploading now of older voice recordings, because voice was the first medium that I went to because I didn't want to show my face. So the first phase, the first acceptable phase of creating content based purely on my very vulnerable thoughts inside, asking myself difficult questions, going through that journey of growth and maturity and self-development, right? Self-discovery. This is what it's all about. I'm just going to clean this lens real quick. Oh, it's a bit better. This journey of self-discovery, this is what it's all about. And with me dabbling with weed and microdosing, very controlled and very measured, like I'm going to it. I'm using weed in a scholarly fashion. I'm studying its effects on me, and I'm noticing so many patterns that's noteworthy. And through what I've been observing, I'm like convinced that with this movement of mushrooms becoming very highly regarded with immense potential in the medical scene, so is weed going to be. If it's not already, I mean, it is. We all know that cannabis and THC and CBD there are many phases towards acceptance and integration into society, from the economic and tax, and law and all of that stuff. That's all the slow churning, bureaucratic structures of politics and blah 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 and blah blah blah, and that's all of the ego and of the mind, because we know that the world has been built with that. So now we're stepping more into aspects of self, aspects of the body. As mentioned in my previous video, I'll be going more into explaining, or just delving into, what does it mean to connect with the body and get to know that aspect of self as well. And then through microdosing THC on a regular basis, actually, I'm able to not reach that point where it's overwhelming my body and it's so draining, and it knocks me out, and it makes me stumble, and it makes me like act a fool. That's already going beyond the boundary. So similar to like what everyone everyone who drinks knows their limits, and they might get to that position after years. Maybe they never have reached that point where they've got good self-control and a good relationship with the substance, that hopefully it hasn't taken on a complete biological, chemical, it's taken control and addiction has taken hold. Hopefully it doesn't get to that. Fortunately for me, it hasn't. It doesn't seem to be an issue. But I've been able to let myself get carried away. And there's no harm in it, because I'm, one, being utterly myself. This is who I am when I'm not afraid of judgment, and when I have the freedom to just be really who I am, authentically what I gravitate towards when I am in a high energetic state, whether I'm really happy, really excited, really like grateful and in tune with the moment. These are high states, and I've labeled it before as high and given it a name as Grace, the character that I'm going to relate to. I'm going to stop recording because someone's going down.